This here is a woodcarver screw. What is it and how do you use it? I am now going to show you. So the screw came in this packet from a German website called findtools.com. I will put a link to that down in the description. Basically it's a 5/8 diameter screw, which is 9 inches long, or 1.6 centimeters by 23 centimeters roughly, and you use it to hold a carving in place. Now, the problem when holding carvings in something like a traditional woodworking device is that carvings are often a really odd shape, and you need to adjust them a lot and turn them around a lot to be able to see all the features, especially if you're carving in the round like this. And if I want to hit the carving this way, it just wobbles and shakes. You know, if I want to do this and I want to chisel down, then I'm sort of hitting into the vise, which is not always a good idea. So this actually just gives you another option for holding, and it can be used in a number of different ways. So I'm going to show you what those are. You may have noticed the tip here is tapered, and this is the actual part that goes into the carving. They do recommend that you don't go in all the way, because then that way if you take the screw back out and you screw it back in, then you can tighten it in a little bit further, and sometimes the carving can come loose while you're using it, so it helps to have that kind of taper in case you want to give it a couple more twists, then you know you're going to get a really nice tight grip on the carving. So in order to fix this piece to the carving, we need to drill a pilot hole, but obviously this is kind of tapered, so drilling a pilot hole is kind of weird. So from what I've seen, from what other people have recommended, you can pick a couple of different sizes of drill bits to drill the hole. So first you want to drill one that's about the right size for the bottom piece, which is about that. And then maybe step up to another one. So that was a 5mm bit. I might step up to a, not an 8, I think a 7. A 7mm, yeah. Step up to a 7mm. So, and I only want to take the screw in probably about this far, which is about what? Just over maybe 1.5 inches, something like 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, something like that. So that's what I'm going to do now, and we'll get the screw and then I'll show you all the different ways you can use it. So here's the bottom of my carving. I've found the centre pretty much there. We're going to drill in a bit of the way with this 5mm drill bit. Obviously you want to make sure you're putting the screw in a position where you're not going to be carving. So this is all waste wood here. You don't want to have the screw somewhere where you're potentially going to hit it with a chisel, because then you're going to have a bad time obviously. So that was the 5mm bit. Let's get the 7mm bit in there, the top section. There we go. Don't know if you noticed this already, but another cool feature of this these screws generally is that they have a kind of a square spanner or wrench slot there, so you can take that off the screw. Whoops. Here we go. Right. And then put your screw in there, and you can use this part here on the end of the wing nut as a kind of spanner to help you turn the screw into the wood. So no need to look for another spanner or screw somewhere else, you can do it with this. And you can just use this to help you get it in there. Another thing that people say about these screws with the wide threads on them is some are made for being screwed into cross grain, and others are suitable for end grain. Because this one has quite wide and thick threads, I think that means it's more suitable, or not more suitable, but can be used on end grain, which is what I'm using it on. So I've used it on one carving so far and it's held really well. So there we go, we're going to stop there because we're getting quite tight there now. If you want to see me use the screw live and use for all different kinds of carving, you can come to twitch.tv/TimberNew. I stream there live. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel already, feel free to do so. But now I'm going to show you the different ways you can attach it to a bench and how you can use it. So one of the most obvious ways to use it is your bench, to connect it to the existing dog holes you have, or to make a specific hole for it. So you can see it goes right through there. And then what I have to do is put a block underneath on the remainder of the screw and kind of use up a lot of the screw. People will usually do this when they're doing wood carving and using a wood carver screw. I guess just because there's, you know, you don't have to turn the wing nut on so much, but also I think having a big block like this can add some extra grip to the bottom. So I'm just going to take you under the bench and show you what's happening with that. So here's the remainder of the screw coming through the bottom. Obviously that's going to differ depending on how big the carving is, how far you've screwed the carving in, how thick your bench is, you know, depending on how much the screw is going to come through. But there's quite a lot there, so I have a fairly big block here to go on here. Then I've got a washer which comes with the screw. That's quite important to have that washer. That goes on there like that. Then we put the wing nut on the bottom and wind that all the way up. There we go. So the good thing about this is that this is really tight right now, so we can go ahead and carve. But if we need to spin the carving round, we just turn the wing nut, spin the carving round on the top, tighten the wing nut up again, and all of a sudden we've got a nice tight clamping surface again to carve with. So now we come to what other ways can we use it. So you could use it on this carving stand that I made recently, for example. So you can put it through the shelf there, get your block through, your washer on, your wing nut, do that up, which doesn't take very long, and then we've suddenly got this really nice surface to carve on right in front of my face. Because we've got the stand adjustable, I can move the carving up and down like this. Can tighten up the back, I can loosen up the wing nut if I want to work from the back side and tighten it up. You know, it's a really nice way of carving, really versatile. Lots of different angles you can get with that. There's also another thing you could do with this stand, which is also part of the reason of having this long slit in the back. It's not only for the adjustable up and down of this shelf. There's also another advantage to it. Not so much for this carving that I have here, but if you have quite a big carving or like kind of a flat carving that can go against this, you could stick another block to the back, or maybe just use another piece of, maybe just use a thicker piece of wood that can clamp on there easily, that you can drill into. But what you can do is put this through the back here like this, and then get that on there, washer, wing nut, spin it on, and now you have another way to adjust your carving up and down. Like I said before, it wasn't really suited for this carving. I mean, I suppose you could if you wanted to carve from this direction. Who says you can't, right? If that's something you're more used to. But this just gives you something. Imagine this is a big flat piece, or a sort of quite a large piece coming out here. You might be carving a big face into something. You know, you can move it up and down. You can tighten it up at the back. You can spin it around. You know, it just makes everything a lot easier and holds a carving really tightly. I really hope you enjoyed that video, and hopefully enjoyed learning about a tool that you didn't know about before. I only learned about woodcarver screws about a month ago, and I'm quite pleased I found this one. Like I say, it was from findtools.com. I'll put the link below. This one was actually a rather cheap one. I think it was about 12 euros or something. The company's from Germany. You can get a more expensive one by Stubai, but that's more like 60 euros. So I thought I'd try the less expensive one just to see what it was like, and so far I'm really impressed with it. But I will keep you updated in case anything goes wrong with it. But I think we'll probably see this guy in a lot of our future videos.